David Chytraeus de Ratione Discendi, Episode 12. Qui enim, quo destinavit, pervenire vult, unam sequi viam, non per multas vagari debet, non ira istud, sed errare est, ut Seneca inquit. In the previous portion, Chytraeus has just said that there ought to be one goal or destination, one meta, one endpoint, or one finis to which a person ought to strive when trying to learn something. For, he says, the person who, qui pervenire vult, the one who wants to arrive at the place where he is headed, quo destinavit. We have qui here as the subject, which is masculine singular and nominative. It is the subject of vult, third singular, present indicative active, from the irregular verb velle, which is taking here pervenire as its object. For the one who wants to arrive at the place to which he is headed. Quo here is a directional adverb, and destinavit is the third singular, perfect indicative active of the first conjugation verb destino, destinare, like so. That person, he ought debet, he ought sequi viam unam, one path or one route he ought to follow. So debet here then is the verb, third singular, present indicative active from second conjugation debere, and the subject of debere is qui through vult, that clause. The one who wants to reach the place where he's headed, that person ought to do two things, or he ought to do one thing and not do a second thing. He ought, debet, to follow, sequi, unam viam. Sequi is an infinitive. This is the deponent verb sequor, sequi, secutus, its third conjugation. Its object here is viam, which is feminine singular and accusative. He ought to follow a path, viam. It's modified by unam. He ought to follow a single path. He ought not, we have debet again, debet, he should not, debet non vagari, he ought not to wander, or to just kind of stroll around, vagari, per multas, through many different paths. Vagari, like sequi, is deponent. It's from the first conjugation, vagor, vagari, like so. But it is intransitive, which means it does not take an object. With multas, we have implicit the noun vias in the feminine plural accusative. He ought to follow one path, unam sequi viam. He should not wander about through many of them, per multas. And then, to cite authority, Chytraeus brings in a quote from Seneca. This is not to go, istud. This is not to go, picking up on the ira in pervenire, but this is what it means simply to wander about aimlessly. So this is not moving toward a destination, but mere wandering if you go down many different paths. Ut Seneca inquit, as Seneca says. We note here first that the ut, when it's used with an indicative, which inquit is, ut with an indicative always has a parenthetical sense. It ought not to be confused with some kind of a result clause, purpose clause, fear clause, anything like that. Ut with the indicative is parenthetical. And secondly, we should note that the verb inquit is used whenever we have direct quotation, which is what this is. Non ira istud, sed errare est. This is not moving forward, but it's merely wandering. And so because this is a direct quotation, Chytraeus uses the verb inquit.